The silence tax. Ryan Carter's phone buzzed once at 12:01 a.m. with a single notification. No sender, no app, nothing but 2 words on a black screen. Name accepted. He would spend the rest of his life, however much of it he had left, trying to figure out how a phone with no signal bars had managed to receive that message at all. The town that went quiet at midnight. Ryan Carter ran a mid-sized horror channel out of Denver, the kind that pulled in a few 100,000 views on a good week. Abandoned asylums, haunted highway rest stops, the occasional debunked ghost hunt filmed with too many jump cuts. He'd built his whole career on finding the weird, dying corners of America that Google Maps barely acknowledged. And 6 months ago, a subscriber in the comments had tipped him off about a town buried deep in the Montana high country called Hollow Bend. The tip was strange even by Ryan's standards. Look up Hollow Bend, Montana. Population 340. Every October, nobody's allowed to say their own name out loud after midnight. Nobody will tell you why. Even the cops follow the rule. Ryan had laughed the first time he read it, but he'd made a career out of laughing at things right up until he found himself standing in front of them. Camera rolling, laugh gone quiet. So in the second week of October, he loaded up his gear, drove 11 hours northwest into the folded, pine-choked mountains of western Montana, and rolled into Hollow Bend on a gray Tuesday afternoon. The town was smaller than he expected. 1 gas station, 1 diner called the Copper Spoon, a hardware store, a church with white paint peeling off the steeple, and streets that emptied out fast once the sun started dropping behind a ridgeline. Ryan checked into the only motel in town, a squat building called the Pinecrest and run by a woman named Dolores who barely looked up from her crossword puzzle when he asked for a room. "You here for the leaf peeping?" she asked, not really asking. Something like that. Ryan said, "Actually, I heard there's some kind of rule around here. About names." After midnight, Dolores's pen stopped moving. She looked up at him for the first time, and something in her face, not fear exactly, more like tired recognition, the look of someone watching a familiar accident happen again, made the hair on Ryan's arms stand up. "Don't test it," she said quietly. "Whatever you heard, whatever you're planning, just don't test it." Ryan smiled at the camera clipped to his jacket. This was exactly the kind of moment his subscribers lived for. Midnight. By 11:30 that night, Ryan had set up 2 cameras in the town square. A small patch of grass with a bronze statue of some forgotten Montana rancher and a bandstand nobody had used in decades. He'd talked to a handful of locals over dinner at the Copper Spoon, and every single one of them had gone quiet, polite, and evasive the second he brought up the midnight rule. Nobody denied it existed. Nobody would explain it either. "It's just tradition," a waitress named Beth had told him, refilling his coffee without meeting his eyes. "Started before my time. We just don't say names after midnight in October. That's all there is to it." But why? Beth had just shaken her head and walked away. At 11:58 p.m., Ryan stood in the empty square with his phone live streaming to 9,000 viewers, his breath fogging in the cold mountain air, a grin plastered across his face for the camera. "All right, guys, we are 2 minutes out from midnight in Hollow Bend, Montana, home of the weirdest small-town rule I have ever personally investigated. Supposedly, after midnight, nobody in this town says their own name out loud. I don't know what happens if you do. Probably nothing. But we're about to find out together." Somewhere off to his left, half hidden in shadow near the diner, a small cluster of townsfolk had gathered. Dolores from the motel, Beth the waitress, an old man in a flannel jacket Ryan hadn't met. They WER. Just watching him. The way people watch a car that's already started sliding on ice, past the point where a warning would do any good. The clock on Ryan's phone flipped to 12 o'clock. "My name," Ryan said into the camera, laughing, "is Ryan Carter." For a long, heavy second, absolutely nothing happened. The wind moved through the pines above the square. Somewhere a dog barked once and went silent. The little crowd near the diner didn't move, didn't blink, didn't say a single word. Then, at 12:01, Ryan's phone buzzed in his hand. Name accepted. Ryan stared at it, laughed under his breath, and told his chat it was obviously some local prankster messing with the town Wi-Fi. He signed off the stream a few minutes later, half convinced he'd just wasted 11 hours of driving on an elaborate small-town joke. He should have listened to Dolores. The mailbox. Ryan woke up the next morning to knocking outside his motel room. Not on the door, but somewhere out front. When he stepped outside, there was an old rural mailbox standing in the gravel lot beside his rental car, rusted at the hinges, clearly decades old. It hadn't been there when he'd parked the night before. He was certain of that. He'd walked past that exact spot at least 3 times. Inside the mailbox was a single folded letter, the paper yellowed and soft with age, though the ink looked fresh. Your name belongs to us now. The next time someone says it, you'll go to them. Ryan read it 4 times, standing barefoot in the gravel, the cold October air biting at his ankles. He told himself it was Dolores or Beth or some elaborate local performance art meant to scare off nosy YouTubers. He almost convinced himself of that. Almost. At 9 a.m., his phone rang. His mother, calling from Denver, her voice warm and ordinary the way it always was. "Ryan," she said, "you didn't call last night. I was worried." The call cut off mid-sentence. Not a dropped call, not a dead battery. The screen simply went black, then returned to the
Panting, hands shaking, sweat on his forehead at 6 in the morning. Emma sat up and looked at his hands. Small marks, along the palm and the inside of his wrist, like scratches or teeth marks. "This thing is done," he said. "It's not staying here." Emma didn't argue. She had her own reasons for wanting it gone by then. She just hadn't let herself say them out loud. Daniel put Zuko in a paper bag, put on shoes, went downstairs, dropped it in the dumpster behind the building, came back up. That night they ate dinner together, talked, laughed, even at something stupid on TV. Daniel held her hand on the couch. It felt like breathing again after being underwater. Emma thought, "It's over. We're fine." Part 6. It came back. Next morning, Emma was making coffee. She filled her mug, turned around, and Zuko was on the kitchen counter. His broken tooth was stained dark red. Her mug hit the floor. She called Daniel. He picked up on the second ring. "Daniel, it's back." Silence. "I threw it away, Emma." "I know. I watched it go into the dumpster." "I know. It's on the counter." He was home in 20 minutes. He didn't touch it. Neither of them did for a while. They just stood in the kitchen looking at it, at that small golden thing sitting between the coffee maker and the paper towel holder, grinning at both of them. Then Daniel picked it up with a dish towel, and they made a plan. Part 7. Fire and Water. The backyard had a metal burn barrel that the previous tenant had left behind. Daniel filled it with lighter fluid. Emma dropped Zuko in. She watched it burn. The gold paint bubbled. The plastic melted and curled inward. The wide grin softened, stretched, and disappeared into a black liquid mass. The smoke that rose from it smelled wrong. Not like burning plastic, like something older, like something that had been waiting a long time to be let out. When there was nothing left but gray ash, they collected it in a Ziploc bag. They drove to Lake Washington Inn.
Had become a landmine he couldn't defuse. Worse still, his own live stream had ended with him saying his name clearly, cheerfully, directly into a camera broadcasting to 9,000 people in real time. By the time Ryan understood what he triggered, the clip had already been chopped into a 30-second horror short and reposted across every platform that existed. Comment sections everywhere were filled with people typing his name as a joke, laughing at the prank, saying it out loud in their own reaction videos for views. Ryan Carter. Ryan Carter. Say his name and see what happens, LOL. Millions of strangers, all across the country, laughing his name into their phones and cameras, each one another rope being tied around his throat. 1 year later, a true crime podcaster named Elena Ruiz drove into Hollow Bend, Montana, exactly 1 year after Ryan Carter's live stream had first gone viral. One of thousands of amateur investigators who tried to retrace his last known steps after his disappearance became an unsolved internet mystery. Ryan Carter's name had trended for weeks that October, whispered and typed, and shouted by more people than could ever be counted. And then, like Marcus Webb before him, Ryan had simply stopped existing anywhere anyone could find him. Hollow Bend was empty when Elena arrived. Not abandoned in the slow way of dying rural towns. Empty the way a held breath is empty. Doors unlocked. Dinner plates still on tables at the Copper Spoon. Dolores' crossword puzzle sitting half-finished on the motel counter. Every single resident, all 340 of them, simply gone, as if the town itself had finally finished its work and no longer needed to keep up appearances. In the town square, beside the old bronze statue and the rotted bandstand, Elena found a wooden board staked into the grass, freshly painted, waiting. Next name waiting. Beneath it, a single blank line, empty and patient, exactly the length needed for someone to write down whatever name came next. Elena Ruiz stood there a long moment in the cold mountain wind, phone in her hand, recording everything for the millions of people who would eventually watch her footage and say her name out loud, over and over, across 1,000 different screens. She never did figure out, in the last clear-headed moment she had left, whether it was already too late.